So this is kind of a an interesting twist on what is normally a very predictable topic. Who's the greatest Laker in NBA history? Magic, Kobe. You hear it over and over again. Well, we're getting rid of those two guys because now it gets juicy. If you couldn't pick Magic, and if you couldn't pick Kobe, who's the greatest Laker ever? And I think it's tough. The other thing is, I am putting a rule on it. It has to be when they were on the court as a player exclusively. Because if you say everything they did, Jerry West might be number one. Period. Like over Magic, over Kobe.
Yep.
If you he brought in Shaq and Kobe, he
Yeah.
helped build the Showtime Lakers. He
Yeah.
helped win the 1972 NBA championship and made it to the finals, a quadrillion times. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, West could be that guy. So we're limiting it to only as their time as a player. No Magic, no Kobe. Who's the greatest Laker ever?
We've
Go ahead and
talked
say
to three
LeBron,
guys.
Dario. Who you got? Who you
Yeah.
got?
All right. So this might come to as a shock for some people, and maybe even some hatred here. But I'm going with my boy because, and this is mainly because you said
Luka
after the
Doncic.
Lakers, huh?
Luka Doncic, my boy Luka.
Imagine.
You
You
would
know,
you would lose your job on this podcast. Like bring Joe in. We're never inviting Dario
yeah,
back.
that's too much glazing, all right. But but honestly, so it's because you said like not including what they did outside of the court. So I'm going with Shaquille O'Neal, and it's because it's an 8-year run. Half
Yep.
of those years is pure dominance, going to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Completely dominated a Western Conference that was the tougher. Like that was the tougher conference at the time. Like
Hundred
that's the
percent.
difference between the Magic and Kobe, the Magic, Kareem, and Kobe Shaq era. When they were dominating and going to 9 finals, that was in the easy Western Conference. We had to go through the wars, like in
Yeah.
order to get to our finals. So
Yeah.
I feel like that matters a lot.
What the
Um,
2000s West is what the 80s East is. So yeah, it was just in
yeah,
the inverse. So you're absolutely right.
yeah. And then Shaq winning obviously 3 finals MVPs and complete to me peak Shaq those 3 years from 2000 to 2002 is probably arguably the most dominant player ever. Like between
Yes.
those 3 years, that final run,
There's
those
an
finals
argument for
run,
sure. Mm-hmm.
that and obviously with an MVP in there. And the only reason he didn't win more MVPs was because he had another guy averaging almost 30. Like
Mm-hmm.
if Kobe wasn't there, Shaq probably wins MVP or two and like more. So I think Shaq would be the guy. And he's also a great face to put in front of the Lakers and everything too. Like he actually has a statue that's deserving. So
Does it at all bother you that he left the Lakers on sour terms, that he played for a bunch of different teams afterwards, including the Celtics? Like, does that at all factor
yeah, it
into it
doesn't
for you?
matter. It's fine. It's fine. It matters about what you do there and how dominant you were and how
Yeah.
great of a player you were. And he was the most dominant player, not including Magic and Kobe.
Yeah.
And Kareem would be a great choice, but like that could be someone else's choice maybe. But I'm not, I won't.
Yeah, I mean, just to name some of the names, I mean, that you might consider. Jerry West, as a player, did make it to the finals 9 times, won the championship in 1972. James Worthy is awesome. I think he, like I said many times before, he should get his own statue outside of Staples. I'm just going to keep calling it Staples. I don't care.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think the conversation for the most part, I mean, you got Wilt. Yeah, you got Wilt. Um,
Yeah.
you got LeBron. You got AD. But yeah, it's not just about how talented the player is. We're talking specifically about what they did while they were in a Lakers
Yeah.
jersey. So to me, I think at this point, it is a much more interesting conversation. But if you narrow it down, it's between Shaq and it's between Kareem.
Yeah. And
Oh,
at the time, but we're both the Lakers were on the map for a very long time. For that 8-year span, the Lakers were talked about the whole time with Shaq. And with obviously we know what Kareem did. Like Kareem was part of that Showtime run. It's just who like yeah.
I feel like personally, I I gotta give it to Kareem. I'm not just trying to be a contrarian. It's
Oh,
by the
please, thank you.
it's
This
by
is
the
great.
slightest of margins. You made a good argument, genuinely. You made an argument that made me go, all right, because you're correct. It was more competitive. You're absolutely correct that at that point of his career, Shaq was more dominant, and I do agree that for that final stretch, 2000 to 2002, arguably the most dominant. I would say 93 to 91 and 93.
Yeah,
MJ's
that's the
right
only
there
person
too
that I
with
was
that
thinking
finals
of.
run. Yeah, I gotta say maybe because MJ exists, but yeah, no, I get that. My argument for Kareem is just like Shaq. He absolutely fit in as a Laker. Immediately came in, was on the movie Airplane, was in the Bruce Lee movie, like he was
Yeah.
in he was, made for Hollywood too, owned it. Won more championships. I understand that, Magic was the leader of most of those. But again, some incredible finals performances in there as well, like in 1985, which is incredibly famous for Kareem. Most famous shot in NBA history. He, for a while, was the NBA's all-time leading scorer, with the vast majority of those points being scored as a Laker. And that's the other thing, too. You look at how many seasons he played in Los Angeles compared to Shaq. And on top of the fact that his career ended in LA, he felt like a Laker and always felt like a Laker. There wasn't jumping from team to team, that sort of thing. Because to me, that does matter. Because by the end of Shaq's career, it was like this weird, awkward journeyman. And it was the fact that he played for so many teams that we hated. You know, Miami was fine. Like Miami made sense. It's like, all right, he's all the way on the East Coast. But now he's a Phoenix Sun. Like we play these guys in the playoffs all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's with LeBron. That's like Kobe's rival. Now he's with the Celtics. Like, ooh, that was tough.
You're more so taking away from Shaq because of his last couple years, and that rather than his Lakers stint. Because my thing is
his Lakers stint is incredible, but I think
Yeah.
Kareem has the loyalty aspect. I think Kareem has the longevity aspect to it. And he has more championship rings as well.
So he has what, like 12 years with the Lakers, I think, right? Because it's
Yeah, actually,
like
let me
that.
see. I think even more. I think he might have like 14 with the Lakers.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay, all right. So it's
yeah,
almost double.
yeah. I mean, I could look it up, but yeah, he has a lot of time with Los Angeles, and I just feel like that's a part of it. Like as a Lakers
My
fan, it's
thing
not
is
all stats, it's not all talent. It's like, were you one of us? Like, are you the quintessential Laker? Because even how people view LeBron,
Yeah.
the city talks in that terminology all the time. Like LeBron, although he's great and although a lot of people celebrate him as a Laker, to some people he's a mercenary, like because he's played for a bunch of different teams and he's going to get a statue in Miami and Cleveland as well. So I feel like part of that, I think we've eased up on that a little bit, but I do think that affects how we view Shaq's place as a Laker compared to, like, say, Kareem's.
Yeah, I really think like you needed. There's a little bit more history we need to do on Shaq and his LA stint and how much LA loves him because they love the crap out of him. And it's a lot of like.
I'm
other
also
guys that's
I'm
not
also
just
an older,
basketball, like,
and I'm not trying to dismiss your point. I promise I'm not. But I'm
Yeah.
also an older Lakers fan. Like you started following the Lakers like
Yeah.
late 2000s. Like
Yeah.
I was watching very closely back in those early 2000s, and the perception of Shaq has changed. And so I will
Okay.
admit maybe that clouds my perception a little bit. Is like I have a little bit too much like hands-on experience with like how bittersweet things were and how much it became a Kobe city once Shaq left. And I felt like over time, a lot of people have eased back into that where we're starting to embrace Shaq on another
Yeah.
level again.
But I thought there was like a point. Wasn't there like a point where like people wanted to hurt Kobe for Shaq? Like that. Like that's how.
Well, it was
insensitive
kind of just divided in general from
Yeah.
fans and from even the players, like, and even journalists. Like, if you read about read any books from Three Ring Circus or just even autobiographies and stuff, Shaq had his guy, like J.A. Adonde was a Shaq guy,
Yeah.
and Jim
I
Gray
like how
was
you
the
just knew
Kobe
the guy's
guy.
name off the top of your head. Like, why do you
Well, yeah,
remember his name?
they're analysts, yeah, but or reporters and stuff, and so even in the media, there were Shaq guys, there was Kobe guys, and my family, there was just Shaq guy and Kobe guy. I was the Kobe guy.
Yeah.
Shaq was the dad. I mean, dad was the Shaq guy.
Yeah.
I was the one who was like, Kobe's clutch. Give him the ball on the perimeter and let him close this thing out. My dad's like, no, to win, you need to dump the ball down to Shaq. And I
Yeah.
was everywhere back in Los Angeles then. So it was pretty divided. And then because of how Shaq left, we were embracing Kobe. There was still a large portion of people who were blaming Kobe. But by the time we won another championship or even just got to the finals in 2008, it was Kobe City at that point. Like,
Yeah.
and even then, like we were like, we made the right decision,
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just think longevity, loyalty, and not seeing you in a bunch of filthy rival jerseys, like it means a lot.
You know what? I actually like that. Like, I like the extra stuff. To me, that's a little bit like it's still what they did on the court, but not like I just feel like it's not fair to what Shaq did in his stint in LA. I just felt like it was just dominant, and he had LA as like clearly a top contender. And I don't feel like Kareem like we saw what Kareem looked like before Magic came in the picture, and that matters to me like a ton. Like Kareem was about to retire soon. Like,
Yeah. No, you're
yeah,
absolutely right. I mean, but to me that's not everything. But if you're talking about who was the better player at their peak in their time in Los Angeles, Kareem's peak was in Milwaukee. Nobody's
yeah,
arguing that,
yeah, yeah. That's
But
true.
again,
I agree.
would you rather take
It's a good
8
one.
years being a little bit better, or
Yeah,
would you rather take 14 years of being like really really solid?
yeah.
So that's a
And winning
conversation.
5 well, that would have been his 5 championships there. So like,
5
yeah,
rings in
yeah.
LA
Jack
alone.
only gets
So
the 3. So yeah, all right.